Nations that are buying American assets. Now, the reason the Commerce Department says is it's just too much work. So now anyone, any nation, any country can come here, buy whatever they want, and you and I, we're not supposed to know about it. Apparently, this Bush administration and the Clinton administration before it have been trying to hide what their failed economic policies are doing to this country and to our working men and women. Bill Tucker reports.
Not all foreign direct investment is the same. A foreign car maker's direct investment in building factories in the United States creates new production capacity and new jobs. But the $52 billion purchase of Budweiser by the Belgian company InBev is the direct transfer of the company and its assets to a foreign company. The Bureau of Economic Analysis will no longer make a distinction between the two. It's a distinction too important not to be noted, says a group protesting the change.
We think that actually BEA should be even more detailed in the data it reports, specifically whether or not state-owned companies are buying up U.S. companies, whether or not sovereign wealth funds are making the investment, in other words, where literally a country is making an investment, not a private company.
38 various groups representing manufacturers, unions, and farmers have sent a letter to Congress urging that the decision by the BEA be reversed. The group is asking for congressional oversight hearings into why the Bureau stopped making the distinction.
I think it's very, very important, especially for political purposes, to know whether or not a company is U.S. owned or not. Because one of the things that we've seen here in Washington, D.C. is that multinational or transnational companies often have very different political interests than, let's say, a U.S.-owned company.
In the past 15 years, $2 trillion in direct foreign investment has poured into the United States, according to the Bureau's numbers. Only 10% of that total, or $200 billion, has gone toward creating new businesses. The remaining 90% was used to acquire companies, their patents, brands, and assets. A spokesman for the BEA says the data costs $600,000 to collect, and they don't have the money due to budget pressures. But the BEA has not had a budget cut. Transparency and oversight are what's at stake. Shouldn't Americans know who is buying America? And why wouldn't Congress think it didn't have a stake in understanding who is doing the buying? China alone has some $2 trillion in foreign reserves, and sovereign wealth funds are estimated to have a $3.3 trillion fund ready to buy.
Let's be really clear, and this is my opinion and my opinion only, but the Bureau of Economic Analysis and the Commerce Department and the Bush administration are reprehensible in their failure to serve the American people on this issue again, on a broad number of issues, but this one, because basically they understand that if the American people know what is happening, as a result, the consequence of the policies, the failed policies of this administration and previous administrations on the issue of free trade, so-called free trade, the American people will rise up against it. They want everyone uninformed. They want them absolutely content with that lack of information. Meanwhile, it's our job to start digging it out and rooting it out, and we're going to do so. We're trying to do so. But the fact that the national mainstream media, that our two political parties are putting up with this, tells you who's complicit and where the problems lie, and we've got to start exercising diligence, energetically our responsibilities, I think. The words to convey what I think about this administration and their failure to have the guts to talk about the consequences of their economic policies and their impact on our people. I don't want to use those on the air. Bill, thank you very much. Bill Tucker.